A warm welcome back to my office, and yeah, I'm feeling really good today. It's a little bit cooler, the weather. It's going to be around 24 degrees today. Most of Portugal has got a thunderstorm crossing over, but I don't think it's going to really hit us, which we could do with the rain. I was talking to the lady who actually took our melons last year, and she said again that she would be happy to have all our melons. So that's like really good news. So I actually said to her, what do you think we should grow then after the melons? And she said that we should do butternut squash and pumpkins. I've got two different pumpkins, and also corn and onions. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be planting the seeds in the seed trays because we've finished planting all the melons now. Oh yeah, and yesterday it was just so nice to go into the field, and it was such a lovely surprise. We actually saw 4 little melons. So that's just reminded me I've got to pop the water off. So I'm going to crack on with planting the seed trays, and I will show you the melon. It's only small, but yeah, it made me really happy that we've got little melons growing now. So we have lost some in the field, and some have been dug up. I have just spotted another hive in that powder shaker. I'll let Abe deal with it. He's saying it's 15 degrees in here. It's obviously a lot warmer than that, because I'd have a coat on, a cardigan and a hat on. That's what the thermometer says, but I'm sure it's warmer than that. It certainly feels like it. Funny thing is, every time I put a video up, I lose about 5 or 6 subscribers, and at first I got a bit disheartened with it, and I thought, should I carry on? But it's funny because you can actually watch the analytics of when you put your video up, how well it's doing from like 1 to 10, and the last 3 videos that I've done anyway have gone to number 1, so that means it's done better than the previous video. And even though I lost 8 subscribers between just before putting the video out and putting the video out, I managed to gain 7 back. But as Abe would say, it is what it is. But if you're not subscribed, it would really mean a lot if you would subscribe, because I don't get an awful lot of, I really don't get an awful lot of money at all from doing the YouTube channel. It's mainly just to show people what it's like living here, what's and all. You know, when you actually say, wow, you know, you've got a 2-acre farm in the Algarve with 2 houses on it, it sounds actually paradise, and for the most part of it, it actually really is. But it's actually to show you the downfalls as well, because you get used to living this lifestyle. I've actually got a few subscriber friends that are actually looking for properties at the moment. They've come over to Portugal, and the thing is that the house prices here have gone up, and what you expect for your money, say a few years ago, you won't get it now. And I always say there's always something, you know, to actually get a dream property that ticks every box. You're really, really lucky. Our property ticks nearly every box. It's got its own water supply, it's flat land, we've got 2 acres, we've got 2 houses, but we also do have a neighbour. And I mean, it has its advantages, but we also are behind the orange packing factory, which sometimes it is noisy, but it also does close down for like 2 months of the year because it's too hot in there. So there's always something. I think, you know, for you to get the perfect property, you'd be doing really well. So sometimes you have to buy something that's a stepping stone, like what we did in Alt. We bought that property. It was never going to be my dream house, and I knew the day before we signed, I was in tears. I said to Abe, I said, it's not my dream, this. But he said, we'll make it a dream. And it was a beautiful house, and I did enjoy living there, but it didn't have a garden as such. It had a courtyard and a roof terrace. So this is the house that we actually bought in Alt, and it was grim, and even grimmer on the inside. This was the bedroom that we stayed in for 3 years while we knocked the rest of the house down. This was going to be the lounge, special open air feature. You could actually see the sky. This was the kitchen, which it was actually a smoke room. Beautiful stained glass windows that needed restoring. And these stairs to the roof terrace were so steep, you actually had to, they were more like ladders. That was the outside toilet. And one good feature about that house, it had its own water supply. And this is what we actually did to it. We restored the windows, which were absolutely beautiful. We managed to put in 2 bedrooms. that was our main bedroom. This was the second guest bedroom. And Abe nearly killed me because I ordered a 25 stone bath. And that was my design as a kitchen designer, and I absolutely loved it. And it just felt so light and airy. And Abe designed the stairs differently to go up to the roof terrace. We had bifold windows, and we put a gazebo on the top and a little bit of decking area. So I did this just to prove what can be done with these old houses. So the Al's house was really used as a stepping stone property, and I said that I'd never do another house renovation again, and here we are. But this house is a lot more livable, even though it hasn't been lived in. It wasn't lived in for 30 years when we bought it. It is light, airy. Well, it wasn't that light and airy when we bought it. It didn't have any damp, and that was the main thing. It didn't smell damp. The people that actually had the property, they just basically used it to farm. They lived locally and they just wanted the land to farm the land, but they didn't want to live in it. It also has an outside toilet, so for me especially, it still bucket wheeze on an evening. And this is the thing, you buy a property in Portugal, you're going to have to rough it sometimes. The people that we've actually met that are subscribers, the majority of them are looking for a property under 300,000, and you're always going to have something, I think. But in Algarve, obviously it's a lot more expensive, because you actually have a lot here. You know, you've got hospitals, you've got the sea, you've got the restaurants. Not that you don't have that in the rest of Portugal, but I don't know. Me and Abe went from the top of Portugal, and maybe it was just because it was winter time. Nothing felt right to us. So when we came down to the Algarve, it was nice and warm. And I always think that the Algarve is a better climate anyway, because in winter the north and central Portugal is cold, and then in summer they actually get hotter weather in the interior of Portugal than you do in the Algarve, even though we're further south. We bought this property. The plan is to actually do the ruin up first, and then we're going to move into the ruin and then finish off doing this house. This house, although it does need quite a bit doing to it, it's not to the extent of the house in Alt. We just need to actually knock through into the kitchen area, into the bathroom. So that's what we're planning to do. But Abe said, oh, I'll just do it, I'll knock through. But to be fair, I just don't want the mess and the dust. I'd just rather him finish off the ruin, and we'll move into there and take all our belongings into there. I think as well, the house renovation situation, you never realise how dusty everything is when you're actually doing it, if you're living in it, and how long it takes. It takes a lot longer than what you actually anticipate. Now it's a question of actually making the land work for us, because even though we actually did get a good price for the house, with tools and materials for the ruin, etc., your money goes. So we don't have a choice. We have to make this land work for us. So I've noticed as well that people have commented saying, how much can you live on as a couple in Portugal? And I would say, if you like to eat out once a week, which we do, I would say sort of the minimum, if you're not renting as a couple, would be €1,000 a month. I think you can live off that, but it depends on your lifestyle. Obviously, some people like to go out eating and drinking a lot more than what we do. But I would say the minimum is about 1,000 a month. The average wage here is about 800 to €1,000 a month, and I absolutely don't know how the Portuguese manage it when they a lot of them have to rent, especially as young couples. I think it must be really hard for them, which is, the thing is with it being in the Algarve, that the actual prices of rent is really expensive. A lot of people say for like a 1-bedroom apartment, you could actually be paying out 1,000 a month. But if you actually come back into the countryside, and the further from the sea you go, I know that you can get properties for 400. So it depends on where you want to live and what kind of lifestyle you want. Do you want to live by the sea? Do you want to live in the countryside? And it could boil down to how much funds you've actually got. I think the first year of being here, we expected to grow all our own vegetables and our food bill be down to almost zero. Just buying things like meat and maybe just household grocery things, and it wasn't like that at all, to be fair. Tomatoes seemed to all come at once, and so did the figs. And last summer we had lots of fig and tomato and onion cucumber salads nearly every day, which was lovely. And it's learning to do things. One thing that I do need to learn, and it does scare me a bit, is canning. I know in America it's a big thing, canning your vegetables, but it is something that I do need to do because I love drying out the tomatoes, but even with the mason jars, they haven't been able to stay airtight enough. So I think the amount of vegetables that we are actually growing, I think canning them might be the way to go. And I do want to, when we knock through, we're going to have like a pantry area, and sort of the dream is to have jars and jars of your own produce, which would be great. But then again, it all costs money, doesn't it? But once you have the jars, it's just rebuying the lids again. But yeah, I mean, actually getting the land and actually growing all your fruit and vegetables, you're learning about the climate. The climate is a lot different to the UK here. Our biggest issue is the summer months, that we have to grow things that won't die with the intense sun. And also a lot of it, we have to shade the tomatoes and the peppers, or they just get sun scorched. So it's the expense of having to put shades up. Melons are great, they don't need it. Yeah, I mean, the good thing about living here is we have the windows and doors open all the time. We've got a beautiful breeze coming through today. It's just it's got a lovely coolness to it. We haven't had the heating on since February because you just don't need it. The house is warm enough. During the day, these mud and stone houses, they seem to keep cool, but on an evening they seem to be just at a nice warm temperature. So when you go outside it's colder, but in your house it's warmer. I don't know how it works, but it does actually just work. And no, the pellet burner's still not fixed. Abe's actually going to get the part himself and he's going to fix it. So this has been our Portuguese journey really. We did really well on the house in Alt. I remember so many people telling me you will never get what you want for that house. I put it up at 295 and I thought it was worth it. The house prices were going up. I even had the estate agent come and sit me down and say, Angela, there's been so many people looking at this house, why isn't it sold? And I know that she wanted me to reduce the house price and I refused. And I think we were really lucky selling it at the price we did. Although when our house sold at that price, I know that a lot of people put the houses up for that kind of money in Alt for a terraced house. And Alt is a beautiful place to live. And if we could have had this house and the land in Alt, that would have been fantastic, but we couldn't afford the prices there. More expensive because there's more going on. You know, you've got a beautiful little Portuguese village, which is one of the best villages in Portugal. So yeah, I mean, I do love living here. We're out amongst the orange groves and it is absolutely beautiful. I think two things are really important when you're looking at property. One is, and there's loads of properties like this, out in the sticks, is it going to be a fire trap? You know, the last thing you want to be is out in the middle of nowhere and find yourself in a situation where, you know, your house could be a fire trap. You know, could the resources get up to your house as well? It's something that you don't really think of when you're in the UK because it doesn't really happen that often. But here it's a real problem in summer because the land is so dry and arid. The last thing you need to be is in a situation that you can't get out of. And just when we'd actually bought our house, I think it was back in 2018, or it could have been the year before, there was a massive fire in central Portugal and I think there were about 64 people died because they got stuck. And they were in a terrible situation and that's the last thing you need. So I wouldn't go for something too isolated, and there is an awful lot of isolated properties in Portugal. And does it have its own water supply? If you're looking at a property and there is oranges around you and you do have a borehole, the chances are you've got a lot of water. Now, if you've got any doubts, we went to the borehole company. We told them where the house was and they said, there's lots of water down there, don't worry about it. In Tavera, that has lots of orange groves, and also around here, and it's the two areas in the Algarve where underground we have our own reservoir of water and we are so lucky. Our neighbour Avril, she said that she can remember when we actually had a river down here, and they actually diverted the river somewhere else, so we don't have it anymore. But yeah, we did have an awful lot of water, but now it's right underground, 90 metres deep. So when we moved from Alt, we did make a profit, and we bought the cooker, the washing machine and a fridge. But that's all I have actually got at the moment in the kitchen. I've got 2 tables, and it isn't me being, oh look how fantastic we did. It isn't, I'm not trying to say, look how great we are, we did that. If we hadn't have done what we did at that time, we would still be renting in the UK, and we wouldn't have been able to get out of that situation unless we'd have gone to central Portugal, where the properties are a lot cheaper. We were lucky. When we bought that house in Alt, literally we'd gone to France, we'd gone to Italy, we'd gone to Spain looking at properties, and it was the cheapest house that we could find in the Algarve that we thought we could live in, and that's what we did. We bought it for €37,500, and that was £34,000, and we probably spent around 40 to 50,000 doing it up. I cashed in my pension at the time to put a roof on the house, and what I'm trying to say is this house that we've bought isn't perfect by any standards, but it's livable if you're willing to rough it a little bit. You know, I know in time that I will have a nice kitchen. I know in time that you'll be able to walk through here and go to the toilet and the pantry. These things take time. I know people want everything done and to be perfect straight away, and for us life wasn't like that because we couldn't afford it. We didn't have the money to do that. And it's great if you have got the money, and I think the thing is, don't be despondent when you come to the Algarve. We looked at a lot of properties that were very overpriced for stuff that you just wouldn't want to live in. So yeah, I mean, and properties are usually cheaper after the summer because everybody comes out to look at properties in the summer when it's nice weather. If you're looking at properties after September, they might go down in price because they haven't sold. You just never know, do you? And it's always worth putting in a very cheeky offer. I know somebody who was looking at a property for 500,000 and they got it for 320. So and it's also worth finding out how many owners the property actually has, because a lot of these houses are family owned, and you don't want some distant cousin coming and putting a claim on your property. The house in Alt, the person who actually we bought it off, a lovely man, it was family owned, but he had the power of attorney. But I will put some pictures up because I know that we have had some new subscribers, and you might not have seen what the house was like. we've only just started doing little bits. When we came into the house, I did put new windows and a door on, and we've had half the roof done. But yeah, it was grim when we first started. It had no heating, no kitchen, and this is the old sink. I wanted to buy a new sink, but I didn't want to buy a new sink until we were ready to put the whole kitchen in. So yeah, I've got this sink which is supported by 3 bricks. But I know in time that we will have a nice sink. So yeah, I mean, everything just takes time and money. I like it actually. Nice flat land. It's a 2-acre farm in the Algarve, and we every time we've been round to this house, sorry, put you in focus now. Every time we've been round to this house, it's been sunny and warm and lovely. And we bought the house yesterday, and we came up yesterday and it was grim because it was raining. They've taken all the furniture out now, and we opened up the door and we thought...
Well, Angela was a little bit shocked because I knew what we was buying.
Yeah.
But I think Angela realised how much work's involved in it now.
Yeah, I think the realism of having to do another project last night sunk in, and I had
she's used to the hotel room.
I had a huge what the F moment are we doing, but I know what we're doing. My head's a lot clearer now. So we'll show you around the house inside. Now it's still 19 degrees here in the Algarve.
Yeah.
And people up in the central Castella Branco area have just experienced 100-mile-an-hour gusts of a storm, so I feel sorry for them. So anyway, let's take you around. I'm just trying to keep my eye on Belle because she's loving it, but she's getting lost. I would actually have liked wooden windows, you know, but we're trying. We've got a budget and we can't afford handmade windows. Our last ones cost 800. We've got some from Leroy Merlin's with a shutter, and it was about 250, and mosquito nets.
The trick is to keep the costings down, but keep it at high quality at the same time.
So let's step into the
next room now.
Yeah. So this is going to be a bedroom. Again, we'll be seeing the stars if Ed doesn't sort the roof out. It is quite a narrow room. It's 2.5 metres wide. It's very typical for Portuguese rooms to be small, and this is going to be a bedroom. But what I've decided is we're going to knock through this wall and make an ensuite with a walk-in wardrobe.
I'll show you around the house, which is where the garage is. Now I'm going to level the garage out by taking most of this down and rebuilding it up, and this is going to be a part of the ensuite to the other bedroom.
So we're going to probably keep some of it as storage, but you'll come out of the bedroom and you will have a nice bathroom in here, and I want an area of a walk-in wardrobe. Oh, look at that, they've left that. It's like a grinder.
That's for cannabis.
Spencer? There you go. Old-fashioned cannabis.
Now, as you can tell, Portuguese building here, what they've done is to put the roof in so it's not actually toothed in. So.
Yeah. They've also left us some ladders, and they've left us this, and this is for naughty husbands. It's a big whacker.
Well.
Actually, it's for carrots.
It's for the wife. It's a bigger whacker. Here we've got a little oven in here which won't exist again. Well, I might do. I might utilise it for something actually. I might use it as a feature. Now this is a bone of contention. I like that.
No, this is going to be the living room. You don't want this in your living room, and this is where the pellet burner's going to go. We're going to have the pellet burner, TV, and then we're going to have the window.
We'll see.
This is going to, no, that's coming out.
Okay, now this
is a door, which is going to end up as a window.
Yeah. Now we are lucky because we've got 3 phase at this property here.
Be knocked through and have a walk-in wardrobe and a bathroom area. It's the only way that we can actually do it.
No, I can't see what's above that. Ideally, I needed to come when it's raining, but there's definitely water damage coming in here. If you can see the wall there, a little bit of water's got in there, which is nothing, it's only compressed earth.
We've got a couple of pet lizards in the house, so it's a nice find. Lizards are always good to have because they eat the mosquitoes.
You buy properties in Portugal, ensure that you always understand where your boundary markers are and double check it before you purchase a property with the land deeds and the topography on the land, because in Portugal there is a inconsistency with land lines, which are your boundary lines, because some people move the markers when the land's been empty for many years to take the well water, because sometimes there's wells make the land worth even more money, and the boreholes. So make sure you always double check where your boundary line is, and make sure your boundary line does not impede or hasn't been taken away from you, the land which you are purchasing. Because for one thing, you don't want to buy land where the well isn't yours, or someone's taken your well. And you find out
We've actually known 2 of our friends that have had their wells taken, don't we?
So in essence, double check, triple check. That's definitely a word of advice on this one here.
Just found another baby melon, look. Let's pop a little bit of straw underneath it. Now these plants here are the ones that I actually saved the seeds from last year. In fact, I saved quite a lot of seeds, but I found another melon there. So last year I did actually save quite a lot of seeds, but with the house being quite humid, some of them went mouldy and I had to throw them away. But I think there was probably about 50 that I managed to actually germinate this year, which is really good. So, but this little plant is doing really well. So I will go get some more straw. Oh, there's another one there as well. Oh, there. Oh my goodness. The things that make you happy. So 1, 2, 3. I found 4 new melons this morning, so that's good. And these are actually watermelons. They're the ones that grow really big. There's 2 kinds. There's the sugar babies that actually grow to about 5 kilos. These ones should grow up to 10 kilos, hopefully. Right, so I need some straw. I've got 1, 2, 3 more melons. I was talking to one of our subscribers yesterday. We actually bumped into Sandra at Maxmart, and she was saying how wasps actually kill the bees, which is something that I didn't actually know. And she said that the Portuguese authorities can come and exterminate the wasp's nest. And yesterday I found a wasp hive in Goldmember, our gold car, and also he's got a table saw that's been in the polytunnel, and it's just not working, and he opened it up and it had a wasp nest in it. So, and I know that we've got a really huge hive near the fig tree, but obviously I don't want to do anything that would harm the fig tree, and I hate killing things, but if they're killing the bees, the last thing you want is your plants to not germinate because there's no bees about. So, do you tamper with nature or not? That is the thing. So, at the moment we have 5. I think we're probably... Oh, we've just found another one over there. So that's like really good. I'll get some more straw. And Coco's helping me. Are you surveying the situation, Coco? A huge thank you to all the get well messages. It's really lovely that you've taken time to actually send me personal messages and to write on the YouTube channel. It's a week on. It hasn't hindered me as much as when I did my left arm. I just don't think it's as bad a break as this one was. This one was a lot more painful, and I think just where it's located, sort of in the middle, as long as I've got it strapped up, as long as I don't fall over Coco. She's got a habit of, when I walk, she likes to rub up against my legs, and I'm just a bit scared of actually tripping over her. But yeah, it was really lovely of you to send so many kind messages, isn't it? And Perry actually said she follows you all over, doesn't she? And she literally does. We've got 2 acres of land here, and she does. She follows me all about. I'll be just so happy and have peace of mind when I've got it all actually fenced off. Wanting attention. Yeah, so we might be getting some fencing, which would be brilliant. So even if we just did the side where most of the dogs come in, it would be better all round for me and for her. As Jess Glynn would say, there's no place I'd rather be. Come on, Coco, let's go and water the polytunnel.